I've been married for 18 years to my wife, and it literally does feel like when they say when you get married and the two people become one, and
Yeah.
the longer you live with that person, it literally feels like when my wife is gone, half of me is gone. And so
Yes.
like for the first couple days, I just kind of like wander around and I have stuff to do, but at the same time, I'm like, uh, yeah, I like half my brain is gone. And so
Yeah.
it's like
No.
this whole
So true.
it's this whole thing of yeah, I can do stuff on my own and I'm not helpless, but it really is like half of me is just somewhere else. And so it's been a week, it feels like a month.
Wow.
She said I'm probably going to be gone. There's like no end date in sight, which so it feels like
Sure.
it's not going to be a year, but it feels like that. So
Yeah.
anyways, I think I'll
Man,
make it.
that's tough, bro. I will tell you that whenever like I travel a lot,
Yeah.
and when I travel, I never sleep. And the
Mm,
problem is that I'm in the like I get to my hotel room and for some reason, well, it's really because my wife's not there. I can't sleep.
right.
And I literally stay up until my body can't stay up any longer, and then I fall asleep,
I do that
you
too.
know?
I don't know what the deal is. It's not like it's like I'm just wasting time or I am working on something, but it's like there's no like off switch of, okay, now it's time to go to
Right.
bed. It's just, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I just am there till I pass out. And then I've got at home because I love being, I travel a lot too. I'm going and doing things and I do better with that. But here, when my wife is gone, there's two little boys that don't sleep well either. It's like they know their mom is gone. And so the
Right.
parade starts like when I put them in bed, and then about like 11 o'clock, and then 12:30 and 1 o'clock. And then so they like pile in bed with me too. And then they're flopping around like they just were fish that were just pulled into the boat. And it's like, if I'm pulling 4 hours of sleep a night, I'm doing really well right now. So it's a lot of like, it's a lot of coffee power and how many chai breaks can I fit into my day as I run around, and it's fun. So
Yeah.
moral of the
Well,
story,
yeah.
get married to a good spouse and your life will go well, or just power through
Absolutely.
a person and kill it and don't break that rhythm. So this is
Those
marriage
are
podcast advice with Andrew
those
Christopherson.
are yeah, those are two great points for you to make. Coming from two guys who've been married for a long
18
time.
and 20 years combined, almost
Yeah.
40 years of experience. I mean, what
Is
are
that
we doing
crazy?
on this crypto podcast that we barely know anything about? Let's start a marriage
I
podcast.
you know what? We wouldn't be able to do that without our wives being here.
I
However, it might be
well,
for men. It might be focused towards, hey, guys, this is something. But talking about being, getting very little sleep.
mhm.
Um, my wife just brought in, like, she's so funny. She's like, because I'm like exhausted. I don't
Oh
know
man,
why,
me
right? Like I'm
too.
just exhausted. So I
Me
was like,
too.
I think I need a Red Bull to get me through today. But all
Part of
good.
me
All good.
this
All right, should we jump into the deep end today? Are we ready
yeah,
for this? Yeah, Andrew, how you doing today?
I'm well,
Tell me you're
Lenny.
doing well.
Doing
Awesome.
well. How
So
about you, buddy?
excited to be I'm okay. I've had better weeks. I got it.
You are Red Bull
You hit
fueled.
you know what? It's funny. Coming to
Speaking of our
you
sponsor, Red Bull.
by Red Bull. No.
There you go.
Hopefully somebody sends this to Red Bull and they're like, "Hey, we need to pick these guys up."
Yeah. Are you a
And then
chiropractor
so
guy? Have you been to chiropractor?
I love chiropractors, but I know
So do
that
I.
other doctors are like, those aren't real doctors,
And chiropractors say the
right?
same thing about pill doctors.
Yes, right. And don't listen to those guys. Those guys don't know what they're talking
Exactly.
about.
They just want to give you medicine and give all the
I
drug
well
companies
we
the power.
those pharmaceuticals.
Yes, exactly. Which I would,
Now,
I'm more of a natural kind of guy too. But, anyways,
me too. And if you or anybody out there wants to see a really great miniseries or whatever docu series, that's my wife and I are watching.
uh huh.
We're watching Painkiller.
Okay. Yeah.
and it's the whole OxyContin thing
Yeah.
and Purdue Pharma. And maybe I should be worried about talking about this. Are they going to like shut
I
us
mean, they
down?
could. Is this a
But
Netflix deal?
it is a Netflix deal,
Okay.
right? But it is really good, very
I
good.
bet.
So if anybody wants to watch it, it's really worth watching. So
All right.
anyway,
I'm on it.
sidetrack, but I want to jump right in. Last week we talked about altcoin. So Andrew, I need to talk to you about mining. All right,
Yes.
and I know that we started the conversation, and I'm feeling like anxious because I don't understand, and I'm feeling dumb. Right, and
That's okay.
um, so I'm gonna just ask you, right? What is the starting point for mining? What is the purpose of mining? How about that?
Let's make mining super simple. And it's kind
Yes,
of like
sir.
anything, like i- for all of this, I think it's important to remember if you want to get into crypto, you don't need to know how blockchain or mining works. It's like if you have a driver's license, you don't need to be a mechanic also in order to fix your car. And so if like you said, you're anxious and you're like, I want to buy some Ethereum, but I don't know how proof of stake versus proof of work works, and I don't know how you mine it. Um, the same could be said like, I don't want to drive because I don't know how my transmission works. I can't explain that to anybody. Like, you can deep dive into this as much as you want, or you don't have to. And but I do think it's important to know some of those just really easy basics. So
Okay.
I would say this, Lenny, proof of stake mining is done for in Bitcoin by proof of work. Proof of work. So basically, we have a bunch of computers that are trying to find a mathematical equation. Once a computer finds the mathematical equation, they validate the network. And so there are thousands upon hundreds of thousands of computers that are working on the Bitcoin network, and they are validating that this whole blockchain is working correctly. And I think it also kind of
Mhm.
points back to centralized versus decentralized. And if you think about it, have you ever had your network go down? Like your Wi-Fi network
Yes,
go down?
as all the time.
As we can
You mean
attest
like
to
5
on
minutes
this
ago?
podcast. It's a souped up computer that is used to figure out a math equation that every computer is mining and basically doing all of these
Hey,
functions in order
and
to find. I lost you.
Andrew,
I can hear
real
you
quick.
now.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, Andrew.
Can you hear me?
You're like totally hesitating.
Okay. I think we're
So
back.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Stop. Yep.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
I'm talking now. Can you hear me?
Okay, now it's all catching up, I feel like. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't see your mouth moving. Yeah, pretty good.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's say, I mean, something very simple like your Wi-Fi network. If your Wi-Fi network goes down, it
Yeah.
causes you to freeze. All of a sudden, you're thrown out of your Zoom call, and it's just like, oh, what a pain in the butt. But let's say you had like 20 Wi-Fi
Terrible.
networks and they were all backing up your internet. And so you're not like reliant on that one network. That would be amazing, right? No, it wouldn't be
Right,
amazing.
right.
I think it would be amazing.
Is that
So
a hint, 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 hint?
no.
I should be getting another internet. Okay.
So
Okay.
like there's hundreds of thousands of these computers that if one of those computers goes offline, it literally doesn't matter because there's the next computer
Mm.
that is working to validate that network. And so when we say mining, all it means is there is a computer that is running the Bitcoin software and it's validating the network. And
Okay.
each of those computers can be anywhere. It can be in India, can be in Dubai, can be in America, can be in Russia. And let's say Russia all of a sudden says, hey, no more Bitcoin mining. We're taking it all offline. We're canceling Bitcoin. Guess what?
Right.
Doesn't matter, because
It
there's a
doesn't stop.
computer. There's 1,000 computers in Delhi that are mining it. There's 100,000 computers in Texas that are mining it. And so any government can cancel it, but it doesn't go offline. Like, it keeps going and going. And so every time someone adds a Bitcoin miner, which is simply a Bitcoin a computer running the Bitcoin software, that adds more legitimacy to the network. And so when you hear mining, all it means is a computer that is working on the Bitcoin network.
I think it's incredible because in hearing what mining is, it is encouraging that there is a space where we could have independent participation in the health and continuity of currency, right? And that's what this is. Like,
Yeah,
so if someone says shut it down, doesn't really matter because it will
doesn't matter at all.
continue, right? And so I think that's awesome. The
Yeah, I do
second
too.
thought, when you were early talking about what it is, and you said, well, you don't really need to. It's like a mechanic in your car.
Mm-hmm.
The same way, if we want to use like Amazon, you don't need to know the underlying workings of the Amazon data center, and they have like all their servers and the storage and how the network's set up. And you don't need to know any of that stuff because your real concern is, I just want to be able to make a purchase.
Yeah.
Right? I need to be able to get to my Amazon store. I need to be able to make my purchase. And the hope is that there are enough data centers all over the world that are supporting this that even if one went down, it doesn't really matter. It'll continue to operate. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully that's, I think, a good example when it comes to mining. Right. Is that good?
Yes.
What do you think?
No, I think so too. And you can
Awesome.
say, hey, why would somebody mine Bitcoin? That's a really good question, because it does take computing power. It takes a lot of electricity in order to do it. And so there's costs to it. And so
Hmm.
there is something called a Bitcoin block reward. Block reward. Have you heard of this before?
I have not.
Yeah. So Satoshi Nakamoto, when he designed Bitcoin, he's like, hey, how do we incentivize people to run the Bitcoin network instead of just doing it? I mean, it is cool that it's very decentralized and it's our own way of using finance separate from banks, but like, it costs money in order to do that. So how do I incentivize people to do that? And so he came up with something called a block reward. So if your computer finds the block reward, it earns a certain amount of Bitcoin. And so back in 2009, it started with, if your computer did all the computing problems, found the right answer, and you mined the block, you received 50 Bitcoin in 2009. And so when there were a lot less computers mining it, you had a really good chance at earning those 50 Bitcoin, which would be a pretty good deal today. If Bitcoin
Today
is
would be great.
26,000 times 50, like, that's not a bad deal at all. But there's something called a halvening or a halving, which is super important. And you should know, like, everybody should know what the halving is. Do you know what this is?
So you're saying that this should be added to our list,
I
right?
mean, this is under mining. And so
Can you
if we did,
spell having?
yes, I say halving, other people say halvening. It's just a half. We're taking 50 Bitcoin, and then
Okay.
roughly 4 years later,
Yeah.
the reward is cut in half. So in 2009, the reward for a miner was 50 Bitcoin if you mine the
Got it.
block. In
Okay.
2013, it went to half of that. So it's 25
Okay.
Bitcoin. And 4 years later, in 2017, it went to half of that. So it was 12.5 Bitcoin. And so
Okay.
it's a deflationary system. It's not inflationary at all from its standpoint of central fixed amount, 21 million Bitcoin. But also because of this halving, the reward is half every 4 years. And so
Okay.
currently, if you mine and find that correct answer, you get 6.25 Bitcoin. And the next halving is next year when
Got
it
it.
goes from 6.25 Bitcoin to 3.125 Bitcoin.
Got it. Okay.
So it keeps going down
Interesting.
and down and down and down, which according to supply and demand would do what for the price?
As there's fewer available, right? As the
Right.
supply goes down, the price is going
Right.
to go up.
Yes. And so next
Interesting.
year when it's 3.125, that will lean on the price. And then 4 years after that, when it becomes half of 3 and it's 1.5 whatever, and that's just going to keep
Right.
happening until literally it's set up to do that until 2135, I believe, when there is no more reward. And
So when I'm
so
like 150 years old,
yeah,
I'll be golden.
you probably want to stop mining or
I
something.
will stop by.
Tell your great grandchildren to. But I mean, people laugh at that because it's like, why would people continue to mine? So if Bitcoin is
Right.
still around in 100 years, and if we're all still, if we're like in our spaceships on our own planets, and Bitcoin is the central reserve currency of the universe, would people keep doing that? People, miners, actually all get a very small percentage of each transaction. So they validate it. They say, hey, Andrew really did send 0.1 Bitcoin to Leni,
Hmm.
and here's the fee for that. And
Got
it's
it.
very small compared to like your TransferWise or other centralized system for moving money, or even your ATM fees, that kind of deal. But there is that. But as time goes on, as Bitcoin keeps going up in price, those fees will stay in the same standard of Bitcoin, but that'll be just worth more.
Very good. Okay. So we've covered, I just want to move on a little bit here, right? So and we could always come back to mining, right? And
Yeah, I'm really,
talk about the
I
topic.
think it's super important that you just remember mining is simply a computer validating the network and hopefully finding a block reward. And then knowing about the halving, that it's deflationary in value. And so it's going to keep going down. And like you said,
Right.
if there's less of them, then that means probably price is going to keep going up. So those are the
Go
most
up.
important things to
And
know about mining.
and for some of us who own some Bitcoin, next year is a
Mm-hmm. To
big year
having.
for us. So that's a having.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now that we've talked about that, I think I shared this Instagram story of where Mark Cuban, and I don't know if everybody knows who Mark Cuban is outside of the United States, but Mark Cuban is a billionaire who owns he's been involved in a ton of startups, and he became a billionaire because of his startups, and now he owns the NBA Dallas Mavericks, and very outspoken, and he just had his wallet broken into, and
Yeah.
he had his like I don't know how much it was, but he had his crypto stolen. He had right
Mm-hmm.
whatever investment that he had made, and so he made the comment about everybody should go into cold storage, make sure all of your cryptos in cold storage. So the term that I'd love for you to talk a little bit about today is wallet, because that is what these hackers got into, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk a little bit about wallet.
Yeah. So everybody has their leather wallet or sweet, whatever cool wallet you have currently now for your paper money and your credit cards and that kind of deal. And crypto
Right.
is the same way. You need a wallet in order to store your crypto. And you mentioned cold storage versus hot storage, or
Right.
no,
Right.
versus alternative storage. Do you understand that concept?
Yeah, I think it was, hey, I don't understand if there's a cold storage is no, I think is if there's a hot storage, there must be a cold storage. I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
comment that I made or something similar to
Sure.
that, right? So,
Sure.
uh, no, I don't know what that is. I know, right? Or hot wallet, cold wallet, I don't know,
Uh-huh.
hot pocket. I have
I
no
mean, we would
idea
call
what,
it a hot wallet. Hot wallet is basically, it can be on your phone, it can be
right?
on your computer. It's basically an app that says, and it's set up to hold your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your whatever you have. The problem with a hot wallet is that, I mean, it can be secure, but like anything on the internet, it could probably be hacked.
Mm.
And I am not a computer hacker, and I don't profess to be at all, so I don't know how that all that works. But if it's connected to the internet, it's like they say, if it's on the internet, it's public information for anybody that
Mm.
can find it, right? And so that happened, I guess, to Mark Cuban. I don't know the details, but somebody hacked into his hot wallet, and I think he got lost like 800 grand or something like that.
I
And
think it might be
of it,
more than that. Hold
of
on,
his
let me
Shiba
just
Inu. Poor guy.
is that what it was?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. Let me see if I could find while you're talking about it. I'm gonna go and see if I could find how much it was lost. But he lost a significant amount of money
Yeah.
on it.
But
I'll
I
tell
mean,
you
for him,
exactly.
that was like what he spends on pizza for.
He lost $870,000 in a
Yeah,
wallet hack.
that'd be a
Right. And
bummer.
so yeah, for him what
Yeah, for him,
it's like
it's
Friday
not a
night
bummer.
dinner.
Yes,
Yeah, Friday night dinner. Not a big deal, right?
but
Um,
like he said,
go for
you
it.
should put it in cold storage because
So what
cold
is that
storage.
cold storage?
What? Cold
What?
storage is simply anything that is stored offline. So a cold wallet is basically can look like a little flash drive, and
Mhm.
I have one of those, and it holds your private keys. And we can talk about, I don't know if we have time to dive into this. I think maybe we'll talk about keys next week.
Next week.
But it
Cool.
holds your private keys, but basically it holds your wallet offline, so it's not connected to the internet. And anytime you want to
Kind of like
send,
having a wallet.
it's
Kind of
kind of
like
like
having your physical wallet,
almost like you have a
right?
safe. It's basically like
Right.
your safe in your house. So if anybody wants to steal your crypto, they have to go into your house and they have to find your key and open your safe.
Got it.
And that sounds like a better idea for a digital currency, that you would store it in a safe place versus just on the internet for anybody to grab. Now, I have both. I have cold wallet, and then I have a hot wallet that I use. And I, just like if I had a safe, I would store the majority of my wealth in there with my own private combination
Right.
versus like pizza money that I would keep in a hot wallet. Right?
All right. So, all right, let's talk about this for a second, right?
Sure, let's do it.
So, a hot wallet is an app potentially
Sure.
or whatever where you can um, keep your cryptocurrency and it could be on your phone, it could be on your
Mm-hmm.
laptop,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's a digital, right? So you can't touch it, but it's
It's
a
a digital wallet.
digital wallet. Whereas a cold wallet or cold storage would be like your regular wallet. Well, if you were going to draw a parallel, it would be like your regular wallet, or it would be
Mm,
like if you had a safe in your house, right? And where
yes.
you had your gold coins, for example, back in the day, you had gold coins, right?
Yep.
Or you might have cash in your physical safe. But here, this is an actual physical device on which that you have maybe downloaded, right, your Bitcoin,
Yes.
and you have it put away, right? And that is a cold storage,
You don't
correct?
actually download your Bitcoin because they are where? Where's Bitcoin at? Do you know this? This is a quiz.
They are somewhere out there in that matrix, right?
Yes, exactly.
That
They are
is
on what?
comprised.
What are the under? This is the quiz of our last 2 weeks. What is
Yeah.
Bitcoin built on? On the
Blocks on the blockchain.
boom! Lenny passed
Thank
the
you. Thank
test
you.
for the week. Good job. Good
That
job.
was an easy
So
one.
everything is built
That
on
was a
that, right?
fadeaway. That was a fadeaway three, man. Come on. Right.
Everything is. It's
So
it's
no.
on the blockchain. So I don't like have Bitcoin on a flash drive. I have the keys to my Bitcoin.
Which we're
That
gonna cover next week, right?
yes. Yes.
Next episode, we're gonna talk about keys.
Yes. So I
All right. Not
hold
that I want
my
to cut you off, but
keys to like, let's say
right.
I have my keys in my safe. And if I
Right.
want to get any Bitcoin, I go get my keys and I go to the public ledger blockchain that anybody
Right.
can see. And I turn, they validate that those are my keys and they say, awesome, you can send your Bitcoin, which is way better than having it on my phone on an app. And it's
Right.
like,
Right.
hey, I hope nobody can hack into this, but probably somebody could if they wanted to. So,
And somewhere along the line in one of these episodes in the future, you're going to introduce us to all of those things like going to the public, whatever, the public domain. What is the word that you use? The public blockchain? I know. What did you call it? You just used a term for me.
public keys.
Public keys. Okay. So whatever, you're going to take us there. We're going to walk together. You're going to like hopefully show us some of these
Yeah,
type
the
of
biggest thing.
things.
So, like, one of the things that Lenny needs to do is where is your current crypto? Where is it? You don't have to name like
It's
what, but like what is it on currently?
it's like there is a service provider that's out there
Uh-huh.
that I use.
Right.
And it's sitting with them right now.
Okay, so yours is on an exchange, which is a
An
version.
exchange. Yes,
Yes.
there you go. That's the word I
Which
was
is
looking for.
and that's
Exchange.
kind it's kind of a version of a wallet, but not
Right.
really. So it's
Okay.
on there, but it's not in your private possession. So this goes back to centralized versus decentralized. And the whole
Right.
problem with if just a very quick history of crypto, if you're just new in this, huge bull run in 2021. Everybody's just so proud that we are the smartest people in the world. And then all of these centralized exchanges get way over leveraged, start doing things that they should not be doing. And services such as Celsius, Voyager, FTX, they all start just collapsing because they have given out way too much money to too many places. They start stealing customers' funds. And Lenny and I use a service, thankfully, that did not go down. It is Coinbase that I use.
Yes. I use
But
Coinbase
I
as well.
mean, if Coinbase would have shut down, I would have lost a bunch of money. And I did. Thankfully, I moved some money. I was using Celsius for a while. I used Voyager, and they shut down, and so I only got a certain percentage of what I had on there. And we're gonna probably finish this episode. We're gonna talk a lot about this maybe more next week, but
Sure.
there is a saying in crypto that says not your keys, not your coins. So if you don't have that offline key that you can go and say, hey, I'm going to the Bitcoin blockchain, I'm taking my money, I'm taking my Bitcoin with my keys. If you have it on an FTX or a Voyager or a Celsius and they shut down, you're screwed. Like
Yeah.
you're screwed. And that happened. And a lot of people got wrecked. Like people with millions and millions of dollars.
Lots of money.
Just
Exactly. And everybody can go and Google FTX and they could read up on what happened.
all of
But
them.
all of them got wrecked. And so we are very, I think, I'm thankful I'm on Coinbase. I got directed by people that I knew that if I was going to do it, I should use Coinbase. Thankful to them for
Yeah.
directing me. And what
But
I think that we're trying to do, hopefully, is direct everybody out there also through some of our mistakes.
So Coinbase, not a sponsor of this
Yeah.
channel yet.
No, not yet.
All of that to say, I mean, who knows? Coinbase could fold up and it could come out that they were doing illegal things. And then, like, I mean, you'd be in trouble because that's where your money is right now. And so it
Well,
is.
can I just Can I just add though? Not only
Sure.
would I be in trouble, but what I would just read up is Mark Cuban would be in trouble because he's moving all his digital assets to
The
Coinbase.
Coinbase? Oh,
So
okay. So, I mean, I think
very
even in the broader perspective of crypto, this is a thing that is probably the biggest hangup for worldwide adoption.
right,
Is like, all
right,
right, if you want to be into crypto, like all I want to do is the simple Amazon thing, like you said. I want to buy it and
right,
then I want to have it.
right,
And then it's like, okay, well, if I buy it, what if I don't understand how to do like cold storage and like if like we've talked about before, if I'm trying to explain this to my mom or you're trying to explain this to your dad and you're like, "Oh yeah, you should buy some Bitcoin." Sweet. What you need to do is you need to get this flash drive and you need to take it offline and you need to download it and
right,
you need to make sure you have your private keys set somewhere else. And he's like, "I just want to buy it." And
right,
not worry about all of that. And so public adoption for crypto will not fully happen until there are things like, and we've talked about before, like just an easy way for the public to hold it, whether that's through an
right,
ETF, it's through being able to trust somebody. So, I mean, that's one of the paradoxes of crypto is like you have the ability to be fully decentralized from a centralized bank, but with that, it's like that saying, with great power comes great responsibility. And in crypto, that's very true. Like you can be totally decentralized from everybody else. Uh, but if you don't know how to do all the inner workings of like basically knowing how the car runs, then it
right,
can be really tricky. But and that's kind of been the process of the last few years in crypto is how do we get good regulation so that we don't have FTXs and Voyagers and Celsiuses. And there is some backing where it's like, hey, I just want to buy an ETF and see that I have 0.15 Bitcoin and I'm going to be happy. And
right,
that is around the corner. And I think that's why it's very important now, if you're interested in crypto, to be like, okay, I could do all of this, or I could see that public adoption is around the corner. And maybe you do want to get into cold storage. And we're going to talk more about that and what that looks like. I think even on an episode, maybe we'll move some of your crypto off of your exchange and put it in a different wallet just so
that'd be
everybody
great.
knows how to do that. But
Right.
at the same time, like, is your dad gonna do that? Is my mom gonna do? No, it's just not gonna happen. And so
Yeah.
I think, like, even the fact that we don't have a way for the public to safely hold crypto yet just shows how early we are. That like
Right.
there is no ETF, there is no like way to put that in your retirement without being super complicated. But I do believe it is right around the corner. And so it
And
is
that's
really
where,
fun to be out like the ground floor of this, right? Go ahead.
yeah, I agree. And but I do think that this is where, and we keep talking about this about having a really long view to this, right? We
Yes.
really need to have a really long view to it because in 25 years, this is going to be very common. I really
Very
believe it.
common.
And I mean, that's the
Me
reason
too.
why I was talking about owning digital real estate and all these other
Yeah.
things that I wanted to do, and wanting to learn this. I mean, part of the reason that we are, we talked about having this show was because I want to learn. I want to be
Yeah.
prepared, and then I also want to be able to share it with my children, right?
Yeah,
Because they
definitely.
really need to know it even better than I do,
Yeah,
of how to go ahead and navigate this. So quick
for
review
sure.
because we've touched on a lot of stuff today, and I feel
hmm
like we went really deep
Yeah.
in a few areas here. But so today we talked about altcoin. We talked about, man, we spent a lot of time on mining, um, and we spent time on this idea of what is a wallet. And those are three really important terms for us to at least be familiar with, some more
Yeah.
than others.
Yeah.
But I think it puts us in a really great place for our next episode when we're going to be talking about public key and private key, and maybe we'll talk about exchanges a little bit
Yeah.
more,
Sure.
so people can understand that because that really I believe is the stepping stone to now talking about cryptocurrency in action. Right, like what
Mm.
can we now start looking at what is possible and not possible, and how do we take those steps? right? So I think that's a good review of what we did today and maybe what we might be doing next week.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
I think we went a little bit longer, but I think it was necessary if you want to deep dive into just some of these very basic things from a crypto perspective, but pretty deep on maybe your normie, just whatever level. It's good to hear and think about and talk about.
I love it, man. Well, again, had a great time with you today. You know, we touched on so much stuff. I learned a lot. And for everybody out there who watched it, I hope they learned a lot. I hope they subscribe to our channel.
And like, subscribe, share it with your friends.
Do the thing you got to do. Exactly. And hopefully that, everybody out there will come and check us out next week.
Boom. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right, man. Have a great day.
See ya.
Hey, everybody. You are listening to HardKnock Crypto. A new episode drops every Friday.